Okay, so I've had this home gym set up from PRx for just over a month, and in this video, I'm gonna give you my thoughts and a full review of what it's like working out with a PRx home gym. Hey, my name's Mike Behrens. I've been an independent professional wrestler for over 20 years, and I've had a home gym for over 10 years. But today, I'm actually in my parents' home gym where they've had the PRx home gym set up for just over a month and have been able to use it pretty consistently. I've been able to use it a handful of times, so we're gonna dig into what we think piece by piece and give you a full scope review of what we think of the PRx home gym. Okay, so the Profile Pro rack is awesome. I was super impressed with it when I first opened it up and first got it installed. I was really blown away by how easily it folded away. And now having used it a handful of times, I think it's great. It's super solid. My parents love it. I think it's just a fantastic space-saving rack to use. I was a little worried at first about the stability of it because the arms that attach it to the wall, I felt like they might not be as robust as some of the other racks I've seen on the market. But so far, I haven't noticed any issues with using it stability-wise. It's a little bit shaky side to side, but if you put any weight on the rack at all, it's solid as can be. I've had no issues with racking a bar or taking a bar off with it feeling unstable. It's super solid. The uprights are awesome. The holes on the uprights are great because everything's marked, so it makes it super easy to use. It really is a solid rack to have in your home gym. The key selling point is the fact that it folds away, and it's super easy to fold away. It's super easy to fold up, to fold down. It's so easy that my mom can do it. She said it's a little hard to push up, but pulling it down, it's super easy for her. My mom doesn't work out, so that's why it's a little bit harder, and she's 70 years old. My dad loves the rack. He thinks it looks awesome. It's super solid. He's never had a for real squat rack like this, and so to have a for real deal squat rack, it's awesome. He's been able to use it and just loves what kind of opportunities it creates for his home fitness.
All right, so let's go over some of the details of the Profile Pro squat rack. First thing you're going to see, it's $999. Next is there are some financing options that you can take advantage of through PRx. The upright heights, there's an 89-inch upright and a 95-inch upright. Now, for my parents' home gym, we got an 89-inch upright. For me, if I were getting my own home gym, I would want the 95-inch upright because my ceiling height is a little bit higher and I'm a little bit taller. But for my dad, the 89-inch upright works just fine. And the reason I say that is for just when doing pull-ups, the bar is higher up in the air, and at 6'5", it is easier to do pull-ups and not have to hang as low to the ground, and I can take advantage of that extra height. There's a bunch of different upright colors. There's 9 different colors. You can go with the standard PRx orange or black. The black looks super sharp. There's gray, which we did at my parents' home gym. There's white, green, red, blue, light blue, purple, a whole bunch of different options for you to choose from there. And the rest of the product line has the colors to follow suit with that. And so then there's pull-up bars. There's a bunch of different pull-up bar options. There's a straight bar option. There's a kipping bar option. But then there's also the multi-grip option, which is what we went with for my parents' home gym. A few other things you need to know about the PRx Profile Pro squat rack is it is a patented design. So you won't be able to get this kind of design anywhere else. The rest of the fold-away racks are a lot different. The rack folds away pretty effortlessly when it's not in use. It's about 4 inches away from the wall. If you leave the J-hooks on when you fold it away, it does stick out a little bit farther, but if you take the J-hooks off, it's only 4 inches away from the wall. So super space-saving option. Comes with some heavy-duty J-cups. The laser cut numbers I didn't think was going to be as big of a deal, but I do love being able to know exactly where I'm putting the J-hooks when adjusting the height of the rack for me when I'm working out with it. So those laser cut numbers are awesome. Plus they look pretty cool. And then the 9 different colors like we talked about. And then a huge thing for me is everything's made in the USA, shipping out of North Dakota. As far as the actual specifications of the rack, it's 11 gauge 3x3 steel uprights, given those 2 different options, 9 different colors. The total rack width is 53 inches. Outside of the uprights width is 48 inches. The hole size is 5/8 inch hole, so it's compatible with a whole bunch of different other attachments that are on the market, a bunch of third-party attachments, plus PRx has a ton of different attachments. The hole spacing, they have 2 inches and then 1 inch in the bench area on the side. There's 2-inch hole spacing. It comes with 2 J cups, the pull-up bars, 42 inches in total length, 1.25-inch bar diameter, tough coat, powder coat, really easy on the hands, super comfortable when you're doing pull-ups. The equipment for the hardware to install is all set for a wood stud installation, and the capacity is 1,000 pounds. And with the multi-grip bar, the clearance is 29.25 from the wall folded down and 11.25 from the wall folded up. So if you do go with that bar, it won't be the 4 inches off the wall. The multi-grip bar will be 11.25 inches off the wall. And then there's a few different grip options, obviously why it's called a multi-grip bar. For the kipping bar, it does stick off the wall farther than the multi-grip bar, 39.5 inches when it's folded down and a 22.5 inches when it's folded up. So just be mindful of that when you're looking to purchase what different bar you want to go with, and if you have the clearance at the top. The nice thing is when it's folded away, it will be up much higher and not something that you're going to walk into when you're walking by the wall. A couple final details is the ceiling height is something that you need to keep in mind. So the 89-inch racks are recommended for a 107-inch ceiling height. For our install at my parents' gym, the ceiling height was 103 inches, so we were able to do a modified install. And you see here that ceilings can accommodate down to as little as 94 inches with a modified install. So there's a sheet on the installation that you can work with that. And for the 95-inch racks, they're designed for a 113-inch ceiling, but can go down to as little as a 100-inch ceiling with a modified install. And for the stud spacing, you need to have it 16 or 24 inches on center. So basically you have the 4 foot at the end of each rack so that you can fasten it in. And one thing on the rack that I want to point out is PRx doesn't offer installation services that come to your house and install it, but you can call them and they can walk you through the installation process over the phone.
One thing that I really like about the rack is the pull-up bar attachment, the multi-grip pull-up bar. I think that's awesome because you can work different grips. For my dad, it's huge because he has worked construction for over 40 years and his body's just beat up. So his wrist mobility isn't as good as it could be. So having those different options makes it easier for him to do pull-ups and to do any kind of grip work on that bar. For me, one of the negatives is the height of the rack. It's not a total deal breaker, but because of the ceiling height, we had to go with the shorter rack. And for me, I'm 6'5", it's just a little bit too short, but it works out fine because I just hang from the bar. And so that's not a huge deal, but it is one thing to consider when making a purchase of the Profile Pro rack. The J-hook attachments are great. I also have the spotter arm attachments. Those are super great to have as part of the system, so you can have some safety in your squat rack. My parents are 70 years old, so having the spotter arms was a big deal for me to make sure that they were protected and safe when they're working out here at their house in case something gives out or they can't handle the weight. As far as other attachments go, it has universal compatibility, so any attachments that you're gonna buy, they don't have to be the PRx brand, although PRx does make some pretty awesome attachments, but you can use other attachments that will attach to a standard squat rack. As far as the fold away goes, I'm seriously blown away by how easy it is and how nice it is to fold away. It's super easy to do and it takes no time at all. I mean, 3 seconds you can go from having it stored away on the wall to down and ready to work out. And then when you're done, you can put it away and it's super easy. Highly recommend it if you need the space saving for the squat rack. At my home gym, I have the Rogue fold away rack and I don't even fold it away because it takes so long to fold it away and it's hard to do. You got to pull this pin, you got to pull this pin, you got to pull this pin, and then it folds away. So with the PRx rack, it just boop, done. Super easy. Overall, the PRx Profile Pro rack is a great, solidly built piece of equipment, and it's made in the USA, so that's a big win for me. And it's customizable in different colors. The gray made sense for my parents' house because that's what my dad wanted to do for his aesthetic, but they have some pretty cool colors that you can go with too if you'd like. A whole bunch that you can choose from. So the PRx folding bench is awesome. It's a great addition to the folding rack because it can store away so nicely and it's super easy to fold out, super easy to fold up when you need to use it. I just love the ability to quick change in the workouts no matter what it is. You don't have to have a bench that takes up a lot of floor space. You don't have to have a fold away bench that you have to worry about storing. This just folds right up into the wall, super convenient, super easy for storage. I was a little worried about the capacity with it because it was just a couple of lag bolts into the wall, but I weigh 270 pounds and had a couple hundred pounds on the bar for bench press, and I didn't feel any instability at all. The one thing that I would like with the bench that we got is it's just a flat bench. PRx also makes a incline bench. And I think in the future, I would have gone with the incline bench over the flat bench just to give myself more options, but the flat bench is still great.
So let's talk about some details of the PRx Profile Flat Folding Weight Bench. It starts at $449 with financing options available through PRx. Quick overview on the bench is it's a super sleek design that stores away really nice, easily folds up, easily folds down for quick storing away and quick use when you want to switch between your workouts. As far as the specifications are concerned, it comes in black. The dimensions are 17 inches high by 12 inches wide and 45 inches long. When you're unfolded, it's 18 inches from the wall and 63 inches extended into the room. And the stowed away height is 61 inches. When you order the bench, all the mounting hardware comes included and the bench ships fully assembled. And the installation process was super easy. It's literally just 2 lag bolts into the wall.
When you have the rack and the bench folded up flat against the wall, they just look super clean, look super good together. And then when they're folded out, they look awesome together as well. So it's a great 1-2 punch, the folding bench and the folding rack. So with the spotter arms, it was really important to me that I had safety built in for my parents when they're working out, because I'm not going to be here. I live about an hour away. And so my dad at 70 years old has worked construction his whole life and has a bad shoulder. If you've ever carried a bundle of shingles, he did that for 40 years. And so he has a bad shoulder. And so if he's bench pressing, I wanted to make sure that he had the spotter arms. And so we got those, and I am super blown away by how solidly built they are. They're so heavy duty. I know that nothing's going to happen if he puts some weight on the bar. It's not going to break. They're going to keep him safe. And with so many holes on the uprights for the squat rack, there's lots of different options so we can get just the right height to keep my dad safe. I also showed him how he can use the spotter arms as a way to rack the bar in different ways so he can do different movements. So it creates a very versatile piece of equipment, not just spotter arms, but can also be a great way to rack the bar.
So let's talk about a couple details of the spotter arms. They're for the 3x3 racks. They have a 5/8 pin and they're sold in pairs at $224. PRx offers some financing options to make it more affordable. Quick overview, the spotter arms fit the 3x3 Profile Pro rack. They're sold in pairs and are lined with a UHMW wear strip to protect the knurling on your bar so you won't mess up your bar when you're using these or if you drop the weight. They're perfect for working out alone and keeping yourself safe. You don't have to worry about dropping the weight on yourself when you're going for a big lift, and PRx has some great storage hardware to keep them stored away nice and neat. As for the specifications, they come in a black powder coat. They are steel with a UHMW protective wear strips. They're 16 pounds each, so 32 pounds in total for the pair. The arm dimensions are 20 inches long by 3 inches wide by 3 inches high. The total dimensions are 24 inches long by 3.25 inches wide and 13 inches high. The pin size is a 5/8 inch pin, and the capacity on them is 1,000 pounds.
Definitely recommend the spotter arms. So at my home gym, I have a cheap barbell that I bought years ago, and I still use it to this day. For my parents, we have the PRx men's barbell, and man, I didn't know there was that big of a difference in how a barbell feels when you're working out with it. But just the knurling on it, the tightness of the bar, the spin of the bar makes a huge difference. I can tell that at my home gym, I'm working out with a cheap bar. And at my folks' house, it is a very nice, very high quality bar that makes a difference when you're lifting. The knurling on it is just enough that you can get a good grip, but not too much that it's gonna hurt your hands. There's marks on it for standard weightlifting as well as Olympic lifting so that you can be a great multi-purpose bar. For me, with my folks, it was important that they had a multi-purpose gym. I don't wanna just set them up for one use of their gym equipment. I wanna have as many purposes as possible, so having a bar like that was a big deal.
So let's talk about some details on the PRx 20 kilogram Olympic Elite bar. It comes in at $299 with some financing options available. It comes in 2 finishes, bright zinc and black zinc. So depending on your personal preference, there's a bar for you. And PRx has some fantastic storage options for their bars as well as the rest of their equipment line. The PRx Men's Olympic Elite bar is made in the USA, manufactured right in the Midwest. All the Olympic Elite bars feature a multi-purpose design that makes it great for a variety of workouts, so you're not pigeonholed into being an Olympic lifter or a power lifter. You can do a little bit of everything. The bar is knurled, pressed and coated to the finest settings with the highest standards, has medium whip, light to medium neural depth, and has both Olympic and powerlifting neural marks, which makes it a perfect multi-purpose bar for your workouts. Specifications on the bar is it's a 20 kilogram, 45 pound bar. Total length is 86.5 inches. The sleeve length is 16.25 inches. The sleeve diameter is 1.96 inches. The bar diameter is 28.5 millimeters. The neural marks are both for Olympic and powerlifting. The neural depth is a light to a medium. There is no center knurling on it. The whip is a medium whip. The bushings are a dual bronze, self-lubricating. The sleeve finish is a pressed bright zinc. You can get two different finishes on the bar, a bright zinc or a black zinc. And the tensile strength is 190K PSI. And the bar comes with a lifetime warranty.
And honestly, I'm kind of a little jealous that my parents got a better bar than I do. So for the bumper plates from PRx, we got two different types. We've got their standard plates and then their more Olympic style plates. And it's great to see both variations of these bumper plates, and I freaking love them. They look super clean. The all black is near and dear to my heart. I love the all black look for a home gym, but then the green 25 pound plates and the blue 45 pound plates, the Olympic plates, the tolerance for them is so much less that they slide on perfectly. There's no real movement on them. When you drop the bar, there's no real bounce. The standard plates, there is a little bit more bounce, but not a crazy amount. We have the smaller weights in that, so the 10 and the 15 pound weights. It doesn't bounce the bar too much. It's not a crazy amount, but the Olympic plates definitely make a big difference with the lack of bounce when you're doing Olympic movements. As far as smoothness goes with them, they don't move that much. Even the standard plates don't move that much, so you don't really notice it. You don't feel like you're lifting with cheap, high tolerance plates that are not gonna stay on the bar. You could probably get away without the clips, even though I don't recommend it.
Some details on the bumper plates. We're going to talk about the Prime bumper plates first. They come in for a bundle of 160 pounds at $359. That's going to give you two 45 pound plates, two 25 pound plates, and two 10 pound plates to give you a total of 160 pounds. There are financing options available. Overview on the Prime bumper plates is they're solid rubber bumper plates that have a high quality with a very low bounce on them, similar to the Elite competition plates that we're going to talk about in just a second. The performance is topped off with a smooth black finish, which just looks awesome, and the embossed logo is super cool, and they're sold in pairs. Specifications on the Prime bumper plates are they're black with an embossed print, solid rubber, collar opening is 50.6 millimeters plus or minus 0.2 millimeters. The diameter for all the plates is 17.75 inches, and the different widths are for the 45 pound plate, 3.18 inches, 35 pound plate is 2.59 inches, the 25 pound plate is 2 inches, the 15 pound plate is 1.37 inches, and the 10 pound plate is 0.9 inches thick. There's a warranty for 90 days on the 10 pound and 15 pounds and 2 years on the 25, 35, and 45 pound plates. Little note on this, do not drop the 10 pound or 15 pound weight plates alone on the barbell. You could damage the inserts and voids the warranty. So now let's go over some details on the Elite competition bumper plates. These are obviously going to be a much higher quality, a much lower tolerance plate. The 45 pound pair comes in at $349 with financing options available. The 25 pound pair comes in at $219. What makes these competition plates elite and so special is they are the standard diameter of 17.75 inches and feature a narrow thickness to allow for more weight plate loading, so you can put more weights on the bar. Plus, the steel disc insert has a 50.4 millimeter collar opening to ensure a stable hold and made for minimal bounce. I've tested these out. The bounce is almost non-existent. The raised rubber rims increase durability to minimize the friction between the plates, and they're sold in pairs. The specifications are they are solid rubber with a steel disc insert. The collar opening is that 50.4 millimeters plus or minus 0.2 millimeters. The durameter is 90 to 92, which is for harder and less bounce on the plates. Diameter 450 millimeters. For thickness, the 55 pound plates are 63 millimeters, which is 2.5 inches. The 45 pound plates are 52 millimeters, so only 2 inches. 35 pound plates are 47 millimeters at 1.75 inches, and the 25 pound plates are 37 millimeters at 1.25 inches.
And ultimately, these plates just look freaking cool. Having a curl bar was super important when we set up the home gym. So we got the curl bar from PRx and it's great. It's a curl bar. It has it so you can change the different grips. I've talked about in other videos my dad's wrist mobility because he worked construction for 40 years. He doesn't have as good of mobility, so having the curl bar actually helps with the range of motion and the lifts that he can do, so it was great to have that. I use the curl bar and I thought it was great. I don't have a curl bar at my home gym, so I want to steal it from my folks, but I'm going to leave it for my dad so that he can use it, and maybe I'll get one of these days. But I liked having the curl bar because back in the day when I was just doing some straight bodybuilding stuff for wrestling, I wanted to get big arms, and that curl bar was awesome. If nothing else, it made you feel strong because it was curled, and so it almost felt like you bent the bar.
So let's talk about some details on the PRx Olympic Easy Curl Bar. It comes in at $129 with some financing options available, and PRx knocks it out of the park with their storage options. So there's a bunch of different options to choose from. You can get a single bar storage or a double bar, whatever works for you. There's plenty of storage options to choose from. The curl bar is great for all types of different curls, also great for skull crushers, front arm lifts, tricep rollovers, all kinds of different things to work out your arms. And it has standard size sleeves that fit all Olympic plates. As far as the specifications, it's a 19-pound bar. The total length is 47.5 inches. The barbell length is 33.25 inches. The sleeve length is 6.5 inches. The sleeve diameter is 1.96 inches. It has a medium level knurling on it. The capacity on it is 330 pounds. Please let me know in the comments if you are hitting that on your curls. I will be super impressed. And the finish is a hard chrome.
And who doesn't like doing some curls to look good in a t-shirt? So I'm a huge advocate of resistance bands, especially for my folks. It was a big deal to make sure that they had that so that maybe my mom would start working out. She's not someone that's ever really worked out. And at 70 years old, I want to try to help her to stay healthier longer. And so the resistance bands were a great low barrier to entry way for her to start doing some movement. And lo and behold, she listened and she's doing some movements with the resistance bands. And just today, when I came to their house, she said she actually feels a little bit better. Who'd have thought? So it's great to have a good set of resistance bands. It's nice. There's 5 different sizes of bands, so she can use some lighter ones for movements and then some heavier ones as she progresses, and just showing some different things that you can do with the resistance bands. The options are pretty much unlimited. I got them one of those charts that has all the different workouts that you can do with resistance bands on it. So the PRx bands are a great piece to the home gym. Truthfully, you wouldn't need to have all this extra stuff if you just had a good set of resistance bands, because there's a lot that you can do. And I am a huge advocate of getting a good set of resistance bands. And as far as resistance bands go, there's a lot of different qualities out there. There's some really cheap ones that you can get, but there's some better quality ones, and you get what you pay for a lot of times. I've had resistance bands that I got for cheap and didn't last very long, and they snapped. With the PRx bands, so far, we've only been using them for about a month. They seem really great. I'll be very interested to see how they hold up after 6 months, a year of use, to see how long they last.
So now let's talk about the details on the mobility bands / resistance bands. For a 4-pack bundle of the yellow, red, black, and purple bands, they come in right at $65. You get 4 different sizes. You can add individual bands. These are priced really well for the quality of band, and there are financing options available if you need that. Quick overview on the mobility bands is they are probably the most economical and versatile way to add tools to your home gym. There's so many different things that you can do with them that starting out, you might not even need a whole home gym setup. And if you've ever had bands before in the past, you know that storing bands can always be a bit of a mess, and PRx has a great storage solution for that. As far as specifications, the general specs are the length of the bands is 41 inches, the thickness is 3/16 of an inch. For the resistance level on the bands, the yellow band has between 5 and 15 pounds at 0.25 inches wide. The red band has 10 to 35 pounds of resistance at a 1/2 inch wide. The black band has 30 to 60 pounds of resistance at 0.75 inches wide. The purple band has 40 to 80 pounds at 1.25 inches wide. The green band is 50 to 125 pounds at 1.75 inches wide. And the blue band is the strongest one of them all that brings in 65 to 175 pounds of resistance at 2.5 inches wide. A couple more details. They're great for mixing and matching to create even more resistance. And these bands are 100% latex, so they should last for a long time.
My favorite part about these resistance bands is that it's given my parents so much options, but the fact that my mom actually took to it and is getting healthier and working out with some resistance bands when she's never done that in 70 years. So fun fact, my dad has never used a kettlebell. And so when I got him the PRx Home Gym setup, I wanted to make sure and get a couple kettlebells for him so he could try that and start doing some different movements. And it's not the same as working with a dumbbell. You can do some of the same movements, but it's a different grip, different way of working with it. And so far, he actually kind of likes it. It's a different thing that is a challenge that's making him rethink how he can do different movements. I was able to use the kettlebells and I think they're super solid. They're solidly built. I love the thick handles. A lot of times I've seen kettlebells that don't have very thick handles, and for my big hands I like to have something to grab onto, but it's also big enough that my hands can fit in it and I don't feel like they're so squeezed that I can't grip it properly. As far as the aesthetics go, I think PRx does aesthetics better than most brands. Just the nice little coloring to mark the size on the handle, I think is great. It's a great way to instantly see what you're working with.
So some details on the kettlebells is they are actually a powder-coated cast iron kettlebell. The quality is awesome, like I talked about, but the pricing on it, a 22-pound, 10-kilogram kettlebell comes in right at $50. There's a whole bunch of different sizes to choose from, and PRx has financing options available for you if you wanted to get a bunch of them at one time. And PRx always crushes it on the storage options, and so the kettlebell storage is a great addition to your home gym. Quick point on the kettlebells, they're cast iron covered in a durable black powder coat. They feature color-coded handles to make it easy to grab the right weight once you get familiar with what the colors mean. For the specifications on the kettlebells are measured in kilograms but also labeled with the equivalent pounds, so it's easy to look at it. With the color coding, you can see the different sizes. They come in a 4, 6, 8, 12, 10, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, and 24 kilogram sizes, so pretty much every size that you need to fit your needs.
So the fun part of these kettlebells is going to be getting my dad out of his comfort zone and having him learn some fun movements. So for me, at 42 years old, balance is not a huge issue for me yet, but the older demographic, my parents who are 70 years old, balance can be a bit of an issue. And specifically for my mom, she had a surgery years ago where she lost hearing in one of her ears, and so her balance is all kinds of wonky. And what I wanted to do with the balance pad is get it so that she could start to work on that and strengthen some of those muscles so that her stability is better, so that even though she's never fully gonna get her balance because of the loss of hearing in her ear, the balance pad from PRx can help strengthen her leg muscles, strengthen her balance, and so she can start to train those things so that she's giving herself the most fighting chance to have balance. I actually tested this balance pad and I was pretty impressed by how unstable it can be. I did it in shoes and I've done it out of shoes, and it really does add some instability. And so training with the balance pad is something that I'm looking forward to doing by doing some single leg squats and things like that and really working up to improving my balance. But specifically the balance pad was for my mom to help her with her balance.
Some details on the balance pad is it comes in at $39. There are interest-free payments available if you need those. Overview on the balance pad is it's designed to help you with strength, balance, and rebuild your knees, to work on different ways to destabilize your exercises, to improve your balance and improve your mobility. Specifications are it is 15 inches by 17 inches by 2.5 inches thick. It's made up of a thermoplastic elastomer and comes in the color blue. And the balance pad has a textured surface to make it great for barefoot training sessions.
And ultimately, when it comes to balance, I just think it is a great thing, no matter what your age is, that if you can be more balanced, more stable, focus on the small balance, stability, and control that you have, it will make you stronger in your other lifts because you have a better balance. When you go to a catch on a clean or something like that, having good, solid balance is important. So starting to work on that, no matter what your age, is huge. So that's it for my 1 month full review of the PRx Home Gym system. Definitely recommend. If you want to try it for yourself, I will leave my affiliate link in the description so you can check it out. And stay tuned to the channel for updated reviews and more tips on how you can perform better, recover faster, and live healthier. I'll see you in the next video.